Well, I came into Root Haven, I don't know, we're a little bit shy of a year here. I was living in my car, actually. Good gracious, don't try doing that and hanging out with your steering wheel all night. The reason I actually became homeless or living in my car was I was having let's just say my brother and I were not seeing eye to eye about some stuff. And I was living with my sister and him, and I had him put in jail because he tried to beat me up. So after I put him in jail, I realized that I could no longer stay there. So I loaded up my clothes and went around Mount Pleasant for a while and hung out in my car until I was trying to figure out what to do. Well, I talked to my boy, and he lived in California. And he said, come see him for a little while. So I did. I stayed about 6 months, and then I came back to Mount Pleasant. And after about 4 or 5 days of being back in here in this area, I said, well, I don't have any options here. I mean, I have nothing to do, but I don't have any other family to go to. So I said, I'm going to go to the police. So I went down to the police department and talked to a lady there, and I said, look, I just need a place to hang out and be safe at night. I said, every time I find a place around town to get in my car and go to sleep at night, the police pull me over or tap on my window and want to know, where I'm supposed to be at. So I told the lady, I said, where can I go to get some help? And she goes, you can go to Root, which is on the north end of town next to the pawn shop, Gary's old pawn shop. So I went in to Root and walked in the door, and there was a preacher man, I call him preacher man, sitting there named Mike. And I said to Mike, Mike, I'm hanging out in my car. I need a place to stay. And so he talked to me and asked me some questions about, who I was and where I was coming from, and decided that he was going to give me a tent in the back and go live in a tent. I'm pretty quick. And I told him, I said, well, how about if we don't use that tent? And have you got anything else? I said, can I sleep on that couch over there? Well, how about in that van outside? And he said no. But the long story short is that he made available to me a trailer within a short period of time for me to go live in. And so that's what I did. So that was actually a big lifesaver to me. I mean, I feel like God took care of me, because I walked into the door here, and within a short period of time, all my needs were met. And they filled the trailer up with all kinds of goodies, like, coffee pots, and gave me food, and kind of like took me into their family. And I was actually pretty impressed with all that. That I didn't know these people, and they were willing to, support me in such a way. So that's kind of where I started off at. As far as my life before Root, I was living out there off of Green Hill Road with my sister and her husband, and I was actually taking care of my sister. She was having medical problems, so my brother-in-law asked me to move in to help meet her needs, as far as she had surgery. Well, she had brain surgery, and she had open heart surgery, and she owned a business. And so I helped her through all that and helped her shut down the business so she could get out of it. And plus, she had grand mal seizures all the time, and there was nobody there to watch her. Her husband was a truck driver, and he was gone 15 hours a day, so they wanted some family support there, so I took care of that. Well, toward the end there, kind of things went south, but I was there for a while. The turning point in my journey was when I came to Root. I was kind of, I guess the word I'm looking for is freaking out. I'm 70 years old, and almost 70, and I'm thinking, well, I'm living in my car. The turning point was when I was asked to leave my sister's home because of my interaction with her husband, which actually I thought was the wrong thing to have happen to begin with, because why should I leave the place when he was the person that actually put his hands on me? So that whole scenario there was kind of weird. But that's her husband, and so I had to respect the family. Biggest challenges as far as homelessness was actually I didn't have it as bad as some people, because I had a car to be in. And that took me out of, being physically laying on the ground and being so cold or so hot. And I was mobile. I could actually still move around. So actually sleeping in my car was the worst part of it, because I have a bad back. And when I tried to crunch up in the back seat, it was when I got up in the morning, I literally couldn't walk because of the pain in my back. So I did about 3 or 4 weeks of that before I came to Root, and they kind of fixed all that for me. misunderstandings about the homeless. Um, I went to visit my boys in California, and I noticed that the homeless there were so pronounced. They were everywhere. And my son lived up in a community up in the mountains, a resort community, and these people were even laying off in sleeping bags in the ditch. And now my boys were raised there. They stayed with their mama after we divorced, and so I turned to my boy and I said, do all these homeless people, does this look normal to you? All these people laying, laying in the ditch in their sleeping bags. And then we'd go down the hill into San Bernardino, and there would be just whole whole areas that were covered with homeless people living in their tents. So the thing about homeless people is, actually, I have a mental health background. Is when I was working in Alaska, we used to deal with homeless people on a regular basis, and a lot of them are actually mentally ill. And then you have a percentage of those people that were mentally ill, plus they were taking or they were self-medicating on whatever their choice of drugs was, whether it was alcohol or meth or whatever. And then when you combine those two things, it's a pretty deadly recipe for people, as far as not being able to get help, or people not wanting to help them. I think, as far as our society is concerned, we have enough money in our government budget there should really be nobody living on the street. Now, there in Alaska, we had to keep the people picked up off the street, because during the wintertime at 60 below, somebody who was coming out of a bar drunk or whatever, they'd actually live for about 15 minutes if they fell asleep outside, and they'd die. So the police were good about picking them up and bringing them to the mental health center. So having a mental health background gives me a little bit of insight as far as the people that I'm dealing with, or I was dealing with, in the public. What does a typical day look like for me? Well, actually, right now, what I'm doing is I'm living in a trailer out at Blodgett, which is pretty cool, with about 10 other units, and I come and volunteer my time up here at Root twice a week for 2 or 3 hours at a time, me and several other people. And we do some light housekeeping to help keep it neat and orderly. And we bag food up. And we actually go out twice a week in the evening time. Actually, the preacher will, Mike will, and he'll take 2 or 3 people with him, and they'll distribute around 300 to 350 bags of food to the homeless. And they'll be out anywhere from in the woods to in town. Anybody, a family, it could be a single person, and anybody who needs a meal. And we put enough food in the bags to take and feed a person for one day, with all the snacks and in the meats and whatever it is they need to have to get them through one day. And there's a lot of people that actually depend on that food on a weekly basis to actually get them through, if they're doing stuff like the food bank, and they'll use this as a supplement for that. How do I find support in our community? Actually, Root right now is my main support grid. These are my go-to people if I have questions. There's enough people involved that are running the program that if I have a need or a question, I can go to somebody, and somebody will direct me. If they don't have the answer to it, they'll direct me to the right place. I'm lucky that I am drawing Social Security disability, so I have medical care, plus I'm a veteran. And so if I can't get care with Medicare or Medicaid, I can go to a vet hospital and receive care that way for free. All of it's free. But as we all know, sometimes people think that the vet people are not the brightest apple on the tree, so I don't go there all the time. You see, what resources or assistance have made the biggest difference in my life? Well, the resources, I have enough history in my life that I've adapted with, or actually have resources that I've tapped into, like the VA, and just actually my past history of mental health as far as dealing with people. I never meet a stranger. And when I was in the military, they trained me as a dental technician, as a medic. So I also had medical doing. So it's kind of weird being 69 years old and kind of feel like I'm starting over again. But I also look at the glass being half full, and that I'm actually was brought here for a reason, to interact with this program, and made a difference in my life, and I'm making a difference in other people's lives. I don't feel like what I'm doing here is wasted. I feel like it's a stepping stone to get me into maybe another arena. But I have actually a fairly large amount of information in my head as far as knowledge that I've actually brought into the program, which I feel like can make a difference for people who are mentally ill, because I've actually dealt with people on the other side of the track. So it's kind of strange being on the other side of the track, if you know what I mean. What keeps me going? Gosh, God keeps me going. I get up every day and I tell God, thank you for letting me wake up and see a new day. And even when I come here to root and stuff and do what I do here, I usually come in and I'm normally in a good mood, and I appreciate what I have. I know what it's like when you're not to have something. So, and the people that are interacting with me here are actually a good support group. My goals for the future are, I hope to get my own place to stay. I already have a car, so that's a big plus if you got transportation. I have an ID and stuff. A lot of people who are homeless, some of their major concerns are getting an ID, which will start the process of filling out all the rest of their paperwork to get services, whether it's food stamps or housing or whatever. So I do have an ID. I have good identification, passport, which is a big deal. So I would like to have my own place. Actually, my whole lifetime, I've never owned my own place. I've always rented, so that's kind of weird. My message for the world is that there are homeless people out there, and if you see somebody on the side of the road that's walking with a basket that's got about 3 years worth of stuff in it, it's okay to stop and ask to see if you need some help. Now, let me tell you, some of those people aren't going to want your help, because maybe they're scared of you, or they just don't want you to hand them whatever. A lot of people are paranoid that are out there trying to make it on their own, or they're not used to the system, or they don't like the system. So, but it's okay to ask, and I actually do that. If I see people running around having a bad day, talking to themselves, walking around, or with a basket, I'll actually pull over because I'm glad that I have a car, and I'll say, "Can I take you someplace?" And that actually works. And 50% of the time they'll say no, but every once in a while I'll take somebody somewhere to let them get whatever it is they need, whether it's to get a pair of shoes or go to Walmart or some groceries or whatever. Sometimes I'll just take somebody home. Root Haven has helped me. The reason why we're having this talk right now, this little video, is because of Root Haven. They literally have put the shirt on my back and a hat on my head, and gave me a place to go and hang out, and I'm fed on a regular basis, and in return I do give back some of my time to the system. It's kind of a one hand washes the other. So Root has helped me a lot. If it wasn't for Root, I wouldn't have anything right here in Mount Pleasant. I don't know honestly what I would have done if that police officer would not have sent me here. I did not have any other options, and I'm pretty smart, and I had a car, and I'm thinking, what else could I have done? And I have no idea. But apparently God brought me here for a reason, and so that's why we're talking right now. What services or support have been the most useful to me is having a place to stay. Root Haven made that available, and actually even recently, I started off in one trailer, and somebody saw fit to buy another trailer and bring it into the system where they could put people in them. And I kind of recently upgraded into a newer trailer, so I feel blessed. Matter of fact, it's almost too nice. I look at it and I go, goodness, do I deserve this? And actually I do. But I have to say that, Okay, if Root Haven could improve anything, you know what? I actually don't have any boxes to check, and as far as negativity with Root Haven, they're the people in town who actually talk the talk and walk the walk. I've dealt with a lot of people in my life that do a lot of talking and don't do any action, whereas if you come here, they'll actually feed you, and they'll give you a place to stay. They'll help you fill out paperwork if you need it, to apply for whatever you're applying for, which can be anything. So they actually check off all the, they do the clothing thing, if you walk in and you need a pair of shoes or a pair of pants, they'll do that for you. Or if you need stuff for your home, or just some good advice. If you want to talk to a Christian man, a preacher, you can do that. So you can actually come here and pretty much get all the services in one spot. And it's not a really big place. The reason I keep coming back here is because it's kind of it still has a mom and pop feel to it. You know, it's kind of still small where you don't get lost in the paperwork. You can come in and everybody knows your name, and they know who you are, whether you're bad or good, and still be good for goodness sake. So, and that's about all I got. I know I talked a little fast. I don't know how fast this is supposed to go. If you want, I can slow it way down. But it was good seeing you, and I'm glad you got to meet me because I'm a nice guy. And I'll see you next time.